It's a movie where a whale really needs his tongue rubbed and a teen boy obliges. Today we are watching Free Willy. The year is 1993, and we have a movie of a generation today. Also in 93, we have movies like, it's a hell of a year for movies. We got Groundhog Day, Army of Darkness, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Sleepless in Seattle, Grumpy Old Men. It is a crazy year. Rudy comes out this year. And of course, today's movie of a generation, Free Willy. With me today in studio, as always, is Matt Mundy. Matt, you got to watch this after, 20 years here? How did you feel about it?
Well, I will say shamelessly, grown man cried multiple times in public.
And where were you watching this? Just on the subway?
Just outdoors. It was a pop-up event. I was like, come on, everybody. I would like to cry.
That is fun. That is one of the things about this movie. Like, when I said to people, it's like, oh, shit, we're doing Free Willy. Everyone's like, oh, my God, I haven't seen that movie in forever. And then I was getting text messages at night from people who were, like, watching it and being like, I fucking love this movie.
yeah.
Like, this movie's great. Oh, man. So, yeah, whatever. So you cried 3 times? Where?
I mean, okay, so first time they touch.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm dead serious. And like, I didn't know how else to say it, but it was an emotional moment. And then honestly, like when he is taking the spray paint off. So it's the first time they see each other, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's just like that wonder that happens. And I'm like, okay, I've been just going to move on from that moment because it's going to happen again. And then outside when he, and then obviously the rescue scene.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Dude, you bring up the spray paint thing, and that's something I want to ask today's guest about.
Oh, speaking of,
yes. Okay, to join today, we'll get to the spray paint in a second. Join today, our guest is the man, played the focal character all 3 films of Free Willy's franchise, plays the estranged teen character named Jesse, lost on the streets of what I think has to be Seattle, looking for his mother and trying to find his place in the world. And through it, he helps his orca Willy, who is also angry at the world. And so excited to have you today with us today, Jason James Richter.
Hello, welcome. Hi, how are you?
Great, dude.
Thanks for coming in, man. It's great to get to meet you.
No, I really appreciate it. And all that you guys keep talking about the movie. I'm basking in it. I love it.
So we got to get to the spray. So the spray paint thing. I've always thought this since I was a kid.
Okay.
So there's like spray paint on the guys go in and vandalize like the glass, and then they get the paint sections in the middle, and all he's trying to clean it with is a fucking sponge. And I'm like, that's like cruel and unusual punishment. It's not coming out of here. That is going to need a coat of paint.
It was the early 90s. Things were different. We used water to get rid of paint.
Right, exactly.
I think it was Jerry Gadet. He was the set painter, and he had like a bunch of water-soluble paints on the set, and he just let me go crazy and was like standing there with me, and we got to paint the thing up. So I got to actually graffiti up the wall, and then I got to do the scene where
and then you got to clean it up.
The well comes in, and I'm like, oh, wonderment.
Wasn't actually part of the script. The set was on loan, and they were like, you motherfuckers are not supposed to spray paint on this.
What are you doing here?
And
I guess we got to write it in that he cleans it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the one and only time Jerry Gadet actually worked. The rest of the time he just hung out on set, and he played hacky sack with me every day at lunch.
Wow, that's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, so you were, I mean, dude, it was a big part of my life, but you were in this thing for like years. You were like doing these franchise. How long were you a part of like for filming this?
I still am. It's 30 years later, and you're having me in. So,
fair.
I was telling you before we went on the air. It's like I've done subsequent films. I've worked with Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning actors, and I mean, I don't normally blah 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 that, but everybody wants to talk to me about the fish. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about the whale. Let's talk about it because I was, it was my first film. I was literally a walk-in off the street. It was a cattle call. I had an agent for a few months. I'd been going around town, and I guess there was a quote-unquote buzz. And I got into this, what anybody could, right? They did this cattle call across the country. It was 4,000 kids. I showed up to a dirt lot in Culver City with a trailer. I had a number, like if you were going on America's Idol or whatever. I came in, I gave them my number, they gave me a card, I go in, I read, and then as I'm leaving, one of the assistants comes out and says, hey, we want you to come back. Can you come back? And I was like, yeah, of course. My mom's like, sure. So I ended up going back, and I think this time it was at like a proper office, and there was much less kids involved. There was me and probably 40 kids as opposed to 400 in a lot. And I got to the end of that audition, and mind you, this is the first thing I'd ever really done. I know that there's
right.
stuff about me on Wikipedia that I did Japanese commercials when I was a baby and that I was involved in film bars. That's not true. I had no connection to the film industry.
You
nothing.
heard it here first, everybody.
Yeah. My Wikipedia page is inaccurate.
Somebody's got to get right on that.
Yeah,
But,
I'll
but
finish
it's
that.
taught me a lesson, though, never to trust Wiki or any of these things, because it's bullshit.
Right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
that's
Like,
true.
I could go on there, just edit it, and be like, oh, yeah, he was born on Tatooine. So, and it just stays. So, anyway, it was like, and I did another audition, and pretty soon I'm in a room full of Warner Brothers executives and, these high-powered people. And,
Right.
nervous as all get out, and just hopeful like any other kid would be. And it came down to me, between me and another kid on a screen test he was already on a show, I believe, and I can't recall the name of it, but he had done like a few seasons of TV, so he had been around. So I was a complete unknown. They were taking a massive
Yeah, and that's
risk
going to
on
be
me.
pretty scary for you. You're for like, well, I'm not going to get it. It's going to be that guy. He's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm
Well,
the guy to keep that guy's negotiations under
That's
control.
exactly right. Like, I'm sort of the dark horse, right, that gets
Right.
that guy a better deal. They ended up going, for whatever reason, thank God, love them, Lauren Schuler Donner and Dick Donner. They loved me. They wanted me for the film. I am eternally grateful to them, to Warner Brothers, to everybody involved that gave me that unbelievable opportunity. And it was a massive weight to put on a kid's shoulders who
Right.
had never done a film before. And it
Right,
wasn't like,
right.
it wasn't a $100 million blockbuster
No,
Marvel
yeah.
movie. It was, a $15 million mid-level
Big for,
program
yeah,
for
even
Warner
for the
Brothers.
90s. It was
Yeah.
a Warner Brothers movie of the
And
90s.
it was their first.
Yeah,
it was their first family picture. So it was the opening shot of their family
Wow, I didn't know
film
that.
division, because they had no family film division. But
Yeah.
everybody always says, "Oh, so you worked for Disney?" And I'm like, "No, it's Warner Brothers."
Yeah, it was exactly.
Yeah.
That was also another thing that I remember going back and watching. It was like when Warner Brothers comes up, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
This is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had been searching around to find the well. They had looked around all kinds of water parks all over the country, all over the world, in fact. Apparently, at one point, they were talking to, I believe, SeaWorld. SeaWorld was fine with them doing the film, but at the end, they wanted the well to go from the bad aquarium to their aquarium, which was the good aquarium.
Right.
And being true to the nature of the film and the intention
Right.
behind it, Lauren, Dick, Jenny Lou, everybody, all the producers involved, everybody involved said, no. We this film has an ending, and we want this ending, to be true to Keith Walker's original script, who incidentally played the dad
In Goonies.
Yeah.
in the Goonies.
Yeah, in Goonies.
And everybody who was involved in the Goonies
yeah.
made Free Willy, and I was obsessed with the Goonies.
Oh,
as a
yeah.
child.
Yeah.
I could quote every line right now. I could start the movie with you and go right through it.
Oh, hell yeah. All right,
12.
episode 2.
So I got to do all that and meet all the people that made my favorite movie. I mean, I can't ask for, honestly, a better experience. And everybody was good to me. I know that there are horror stories about the town and child actors and things like that, and they're real, and those things exist. But personally, I never experienced any of that. My father was in the military. My mother was a homemaker. I came from a very grounded background. So, it was like, oh, we want to have him out at 1 o'clock in the morning at a Coke party for adults. And my mom's like, no, he's got school in the morning.
Right. Exactly.
So, I don't know what happened to the kids that didn't have a parent
Right.
like that, but you can see online if you go look.
Oh, boy.
And just a quick question to wrap up on a little bit on the coming in on the casting.
Sure.
Where do you have a moment where you went from excited to oh shit?
Oh, yeah.
Like
My manager called me and said, hey, guess what, kid? I mean, literally, this is like, guess what, kid? She's like smoking a Pall Mall on the phone. Guess what, kid? You got the part. What do you think of that? I was like, oh, my God. I dropped the phone. I go running around the house. And, Mom, my God, the part I'm going to be in a movie. She's, no way. She picks up the phone. I go running down the street. I'm so excited. Awesome. And then it hit me. And then I come back up to the house, and I'm like, they're going to want me to do what I did in that room in front of a camera. And, like, I didn't realize it was going to be 300 people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
day one, I get to set, and it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, of course.
I'm young. They had a guy work with me for, like, I think the first week.
okay.
He was a child actor teacher.
Oh, cool.
An acting instructor. I'm sorry,
Sure.
I'm flummoxed. Anyway, he was super nice, man. I can't remember his name, but after about a week, they were like, he's fine. Just that guy's good.
just
We're
live
good. He
and
knows
let
what he's
it go.
doing. I locked in, and they used to call me two-take Richter, man. I just knocked it out.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, I mean, what was the shooting schedule like for Free
Insane.
Willy 1?
It was insane. We shot it. We came in, I believe, 2 weeks ahead of time, and several $1 million under budget, and that's all due to Jimmy Van Wyck and the producing
Wow.
team and all those people
That's
involved
amazing.
in making it. But they were. I mean, we were shooting scenes at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in Mexico City. I'm jumping into a tank with a well.
Right.
This is way illegal. I'm like, I've been on set for way more hours than you're supposed to be. I cut my finger off on set.
No,
I
whoa,
fell out of a
whoa,
two-story
whoa.
window.
Hold on, you're burying the
A
lead.
lot
on
of
me.
shit went down.
So how did you cut your finger off?
So, okay, you know the scene where Jesse sneaks out of the house? He's
Yeah,
on the
and
second floor.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
going to ask about this. How did
They
they let
water
a
fade
kid
out.
do this?
They
Yeah.
water fade out.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Right. Drivel to me at the
Yeah,
tank.
yeah.
So what happens is, take two, I'm coming down the pipe, and I slipped, and they had installed these metal brackets along the pipe, so I was
Sure.
supposed to shimmy down the pipe and make it look like I'm shimmying, and I grabbed under the bracket, and it just sliced my finger off.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
down to the bottom. I fell, hit my ass, and every cuss word out of the book, motherfucker, cocksucker, son of a bitch, comes out of my mouth, right? And he's a little 12-year-old kid, right?
Right,
Here
yeah,
comes Jimmy
yeah.
Van Wyck. Jason, watch your mouth. He's running up, and all of a sudden he sees my hand. He's, motherfucker, cocksucker, son of a bitch. Here comes the medic, you know what I mean? I'm coming, little buddy. And like, everybody, and now my mom and, producers were in the van going to the all-night, emergency room that they had
Yeah, yeah.
open for the production, and they had to sew my finger back on.
Oh, my God, that's
Oh.
insane.
That, I totally remember.
And you can see I'm wearing a finger condom in the film. All those scenes in the water when I'm letting the well go, if you look at my left, or I believe my left hand, this hand, you can see a white finger condom because I
No
had
way.
been stitched
'Cause you
up.
had stitches on.
Everything. I mean, it was covered.
You got to stay on schedule.
So did you shoot this in, was it shot in Mexico City?
right?
We shot Mexico City, Portland, Oregon, Astoria, Oregon, and at Burbank at the studio in Burbank.
So yeah, just kind of all over. Where was the? I mean, so let's get into the big whale in the room here. Like what? How much of this
Lord.
was the whale versus a puppet, and how was this all? I mean, how did the hell did this happen?
So the insurance wouldn't allow the production to actually have me be in the water with the whale
Totally,
without some
mhm,
sort of
yeah.
barrier protection. He's a 14-ton
Yeah, of
wild
course.
animal.
Yep.
So he can kill you.
But what about the whale?
Exactly. So they would stick a net between me, Kiko, and I, and then I would swim in the water with him. I think there's a scene where they show me on his back. That's me on a boogie board.
Boogie board. That's the word.
Yeah, boogie board. And then I did some scenes with an animatronic whale. Walt Conti's team, master puppeteers, they put all that together. The whale, I mean, this is literally new technology for a film, for anything.
Yeah.
They created an underwater robot.
Yeah.
And it could move its
Yeah,
head. It could
not
swim,
even
it-
Jurassic Park could do that because that thing broke down in the water.
Oh yeah, but no, it broke down. The fake well broke down, but they had it tethered to this line, and I mean, this thing could go out like 100 yards and swim around
Wow.
and come back. I mean, it looked like a
That's-
damn well in the water.
yeah.
That's incredible.
You know,
That is.
So wow, I mean, and so you're just working with, I guess, puppets, and it makes sense you can't be in the tank
Because
with it. Like
that was
actual
one of my
animal.
questions I wanted to ask about the insurance, but that,
Did they use
that-
it? There are ones. I guess it had to be because there are underwater shots where you are like swimming with it. I was wondering, is that a stunt double or is
Yeah.
that
No, it's me. It's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
it's fake whales.
just a fake whale?
yeah, it's so the first one is
Convincing.
the only one that has actually Keiko in it, and I did pet him,
Gotcha.
touch his, put my hand in his mouth. I fed him. I trained with him for 6 weeks. He was like. Me and him were every day. I'd come to set. I'd say hi to him. He'd swim over to me like a dog and be like, "Hey, what's going
So
on?"
you basically became one of his trainers for a
One of his
period of
buddies.
time.
Yeah.
One of his buddies.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I mean, they orcas are wildly intelligent creatures. For one, I mean, it cannot
Right,
be
of course.
overstated how smart these animals are.
Right.
They're clever. They're clever hunters. They hunt in groups. They organize like people. They have a bone in their head that they can like snap to make like a stunning noise, and they can stun fish in the water. I mean, dude,
Really?
they're dangerous.
I didn't know that. I mean, I've seen the things
Oh,
where the
dang.
seals are on top of the ice and they come in and create like
Oh,
a
yeah.
wave and wash them off. I mean, yeah.
and then the other one's on the other side.
Exactly. There you
Gobble,
go.
gobble, gobble.
Yeah, there
and
it
then they
is.
like to play with their food and they toss it around. It's not friendly. It's not. If you go on
Yeah,
Google
oh,
or
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
and-
do not go to Wiki though.
I mean,
it's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
inaccurate.
Do
It's
not
all
go to
inaccurate
Wikipedia.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So I have to say, this is maybe so specific. I've mentioned this to Matt before, and he thinks I'm a crazy person. He didn't even remember this. But since I was a kid watching this movie, I've always had a lifelong dream. Because
I want to put money on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the early Act 1, you guys are under the bridge. The kids are all underneath the bridge, and they steal a sheet cake. And they're sitting there. And then here come the cops. And this, I shit you not, first thing I thought about when I saw Free Willy's, I'm like so excited to see this scene again, is you grab a handful of cake and then put your foot right in the middle of a sheet cake, like right in the middle of it. It is a lifelong dream, and I'm someday going to destroy a cake with my feet.
I was trying to get a sheet cake here today.
Sheet cake here today.
We did several takes of that.
And okay.
It was
So
fun.
I think based on your response, I think I lost the bet. That was your foot.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did everything, man.
I did everything.
Did they have a double or anything? For
Oh, no, I had a stunt double, Debbie Derryberry,
Yeah.
who is a
Now
very
that is a
famous
name.
voiceover actor, if you know who she is.
Yeah.
Darren, what is it?
Debbie Derryberry.
Debbie Derryberry. If you put that in a film, people would be like, bullshit, that's not real.
You know who she played? Jimmy Neutron.
No.
Yeah, dude. Big
No.
deal.
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron was your stunt double.
Yeah, she was my stunt double. And she was the same height as me and everything. I had a female stunt double. Wasn't that awesome?
That's
so
incredible.
cool.
I feel like that's pretty cool. That's
So,
like
yeah,
a badge of honor.
that's.
But I do have to say, if you have a stunt double, how did your finger get cut off? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, what's a stunt double here? Like, what?
I did a lot of stuff. I mean, so Debbie did the scene where I'm supposed to hit my head, fall in the tank, and the well brings me
Sure,
up to the
yeah,
surface.
yeah.
Sure.
Because the well's actually physically touching her to do that.
Yeah.
But everything else where I'm not, like, you don't see me directly interact with the animal, or you see, like, you know, an off-camera hand, or you see, that's me. I'm just doing it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stunts in the film that I just did because I was 11, and I'm not going to wake up the next day and be sore. I'm going to be like, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. You're all cartilage baked at that point.
Yeah, you're just malleable garbage.
Exactly, 100%.
All children are until a certain age.
Exactly, right? Welcome to my childhood. I am malleable garbage.
Malleable garbage.
You know it's a 90s movie because the villain, as soon as you see him, you're like, oh, there's the bad guy, Michael Ironside.
Michael
Yes.
Ironside.
And it's interesting to know that there was a world where this film could have gone from Michael Ironside's small, shitty entertainment world to moving the whale to, you know, to SeaWorld. That's interesting to know that because it would not work.
Nope.
No.
And it
It also
kind of
would have to
defeats-
change the name from Free Willy to Move Willy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Willy takes California.
Yeah. Relocate Willy.
Relocate Willy to a better tank.
Yeah. Severance package Willy.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Severance package
Willy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Free Willy, much better.
That's the sequel now. It's just me and all my bills, and Jesse's in trouble.
Oh my God.
He can't jump over that stack. The,
And this is, I mean, it's a hell of a cast outside of you too. You got like Lori Petty, and then this is she orca trainer, which I know from, you know, League of Their Own.
Yep.
And you've also got Michael Madsen playing the good guy, which
good guy.
is like
Right.
probably the only time I think this has ever happened in his career.
And he says it's his favorite film.
No shit,
It's
really.
a favorite because he doesn't play the baddie.
Right?
He plays a guy with a heart.
Yeah, and he's like, and you're telling, I'm not your son.
And you
Right.
yeah, exactly. Let go of my boy.
You know how hard it is? You know how hard it is to hate Michael Madsen? Like, he is literally the coolest guy.
Yeah.
He just shows up. How you doing, kid? He's smoking his own rolled cigarettes.
Yeah, and dude, he is
Making a
like
kid's picture.
he's rocking. He's rocking those Levi's. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like straight like Kurt. Like
He was
Brett-
definitely in a Levi commercial. The
Yeah,
entire
like Brett
time.
Favre style. Like, you know what I mean? They put a camera right up on that ass,
They're,
and they were
they're like,
like,
we got gold, you know?
"Dude, we are selling some straight cuts."
That's right. So it's Jane Atkinson, the mother's first film, which I didn't know.
No way.
Until years
Really?
later, I spoke to her and she told me that. So we had Lori Petty, we had August Schellenberg,
Yeah.
very
Oh.
famous Native American
Yeah,
actor.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was awesome. He used to make jokes all the time. Like, you know, he'd look at me. We'd be just before we do a take or something. He'd look down at his leg and then he'd shake his leg and he'd go, "Do farts have lumps?" And then he'd start the scene. I was 11, so you have to understand. This is like the height of comedy for me, dude. This guy's shit joke like blew my brain apart. You don't understand.
And I'm supposed to sit on the bed with my mom now and cry?
Exactly. I'm supposed to be emotional and all this stuff, and he's like, "Do farts have lumps?" Anyway, do the scene. Shut the fuck up. He used to tell me that all the time. Shut the fuck up.
And you do it on your coverage.
Oh yeah. But
Oh,
you know, I
that's
used to tease
amazing.
and make faces at him. You know, I mean, I learned a lot of that film. You know, good, bad, the ugly, everything in between. It was. I feel extremely blessed to have had that experience as a kid. You know, and it is a double-edged sword. I mean, you know, I get older, try to find work, and people are like, "Oh, Free Willy."
Yeah, it's one of those things that's almost so iconic that it kind of got to be a pain
A
in
little
the
hard
ass.
to get away from. And it is now, though. I mean, literally, I rarely get recognized anymore. If I do, it's because, like you said, it's our generation. Somebody
Right.
recognizes me, and they're showing it to their kids.
Right, yeah.
So I
yeah.
have nothing but time. I'm like, sure, that's awesome. Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
That's, I do think that's awesome too. It's like, as we're talking about it, is at the point now we're showing, you know, our kids and passing along that to, you know, to the next generation.
I mean, I just was telling you guys before, I just produced a film, and I hope it's people enjoy it, and if they do, they end up showing it to their kids, because that's kind of like the ultimate, to me, that's kind of the ultimate compliment to the work.
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
It transcends the time, and I'm grateful for the messaging of the film. I think it's like, what you were just talking about, a bunch of movies that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, it's a hell
brilliant
of a
films.
list.
Huge.
Lots of ultra-violent movies, and somehow Free Willy just is right in the middle of all of that.
It's right in that zeitgeist.
Yeah.
It stays in that
It's
world.
like Pulp Fiction, Free Willy. What the fuck?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tarantino's happy about that.
Yeah.
That I just did that. So
That's right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's right.
He's definitely watching that.
he's going to
Quentin.
listen to this interview, I hope.
At the-
Quentin.
Hire me, man.
Come on, Quentin. Let's go.
I need a part in your show.
Let's do
Okay.
some cinema.
Perhaps the most important question of all. What do you think when you hear that Michael Jackson song? Is it just like totally worn out for you now?
Hold me like a River Jordan, baby.
So you love
I forever thought that
love that
was
song.
the title of the song, honestly.
Hold
Me
Me
too.
Quick.
Yeah.
Will
Hold
you
me
be
like-
there? As Hold Me Like a River Jordan.
Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, it's Hold Me Like a River
And I
Jordan.
will then say to thee,
Right.
you are my friend.
It's like, we're in New York, and like you walk past, like that's something you're walking down, an avenue, and you walk past a grocery store, and they've got the doors open, and that's a song that they just, I don't know, for some reason still gets recurrented, and you just hear that baby blasting, you know what I mean, coming like floating across the cantaloupe.
Hey,
Like
the Free
in
Willy
your-
soundtrack is there's a lot
Yeah.
of great art. TLC's on there.
Dude.
Michael Jackson's on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's a ton of great 90s deep tracks if you're into the 90s.
The soundtracks of that year, like
Are
and,
amazing.
Yeah, like there was so much care put into them. You're like, yep, this is what I want. I'm gonna spend my hard-earned money on this.
We
you
all
know?
grew up in the last, I think, great era of cinema, personally. I think it's different now. There's lots of stuff I like about it. There's lots of stuff I don't. But I do truly believe that 90s, up until about like 97, 98, there was something that was left over that happened again, like the way the 70s, where there was a revolution in film and film changed. It went from being these very static, like, epics and,
Right,
to
yeah.
these very gritty handheld, we're making films. And
Yeah.
I don't know, in the early 90s, there was a lot of experimentation going on. There was a lot of room for something like Free Willy, because I don't know if you could get it made today.
That's a
Yeah, I
great
don't
point.
know that movie
I don't
gets
know.
made today.
I don't know if Stand By Me gets made today. I don't know if
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Goonies gets made
100%,
today.
yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
if any of those movies.
Don't break my heart. Don't
That's
break-
what-
it's
It's
true though.
sad, right?
You
Yeah.
know what's hilarious is that's what everybody's trying to make. Everyone wants that, and it kind of end up with these formula things that feel sort of an echo, like a ripple down from the initial impact.
Yeah,
which I
what
think
you're
is exactly
left
what
with
you're
at
saying.
the end
And
of it.
it's
like,
kind of a two-way street because, listen, producers don't want to take a risk on something that isn't familiar to an audience. It's a lot of money
Right, of
to
course.
risk
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
a film,
huge.
Yeah.
right? And at the same time, the audiences won't respond to something unless they're familiar to it. So it's like, producers are couched into creating something that the audience can sort of sink their teeth into. And the audience itself is like, well, don't be too different because I'm not going to go if you give
Yeah.
me something that's too challenging.
Yeah, and it does feel like the
Yeah,
audience. It's interesting with audiences
it.
now, is it does feel like, I get it too. An audience wants to see the poster with the name of the famous actor they really like right on the front of it, and then that's most of the sales. You know what I mean?
That's
It's like
it.
who's in it and like whatever. Oh, I've never heard of this, but this person's in it. I'll definitely go watch it.
I just produced a film, Daniel Harris,
Right.
Bill Moseley,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Awesome.
Robert England. And who do you think's going to be on my poster?
Right, there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So
Natty Knox in theater soon.
So you produced this? Was this like a script? First of all, what's the name of it?
It's called Natty Knox.
Natty
Natty
Knox. And so what was it? A script you found? A story you wrote? Like, how did you put this all together?
There was a writer that I've worked with over the years named Ben Olson, very talented man. And he had this script, and it was it's sort of an amalgamation of a lot of different horror tropes that are in there. They're sort of like, the song, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. It's like, 1, 2, not Natty Knox and all that kind of. So there's a lot of like references to other horror inside our film, and then it's kind of got like a Stand By Me energy. It was 2 years of development with the director. Finally got the financing with our partner Amit and his wife Phoenicia, and I believe Amit's last name is Sarin. And forgive me, Amit, if I've mispronounced your last name. He's an Indian fellow, super nice man. He's in the film. He helped produce the film. It was definitely like a small family kind of thing. My stepfather directed Free Willy too. That's how my mother and my stepfather met. Was my mother was divorced, and the director
Well, on the second movie, on Free Willy,
got
too.
the hots from my mom on
Yeah.
Willy too.
Wow, that's crazy.
I got the hot for her, and I know she's a good mom because you wouldn't let her 10-year-old go out to the
exactly.
coke parties.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Where's my career now, though? Thanks.
Where's my coke now?
Listen, would it have been so bad? Okay, I could have,
just take-
had a little trauma, but
Right. I just take a little bump and I can just ride right up these hills on my 10 speed.
I
Just
don't
do
need
it.
all 10 of these fingers.
Yeah.
I've already proved that.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, so it was a lot of fun to make it. It's a small project. We shot here in town. We shot it in 17, 18 days. We're showing it right now at AFM and a bunch of places. We have interest from streamers and stuff. But like you were saying, the industry, I mean, I have no choice. I would love to put my 3 young actors on the poster.
Right. Yeah.
They did a brilliant job.
Yep.
They deserve it.
Yep.
But if you're looking through something to watch on a Friday night, you're going to respond to Robert Englund or Daniel Harris or Bill Moseley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got. I mean, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like publicity and sales are what they are.
And
That's the market. That's the world we live in.
There's no way
it's
around
the nature
it.
of the business. So you got to get used to it. And I mean, even for like the people that aren't, because you have amazing actors that are not famous yet, but do some of the best work, especially in independent movies, I think. And I mean, but you want to have somebody in your film that has a name, because if they're the people that are going to bring people to see you, and that is how your value rises.
If they're literally the door into the world.
Exactly. So how long did you actually film? You say you came in a couple weeks early, but how long did you actually shoot for?
I believe our shoot schedule was 3 months.
Wow.
3 or 4 months. I mean, it was never ending. It was like 6 weeks in Mexico, then it was a month or so in Oregon.
Yeah.
Then another couple of weeks in LA. I mean, it just went up, just forever.
And then how long was it before they put Free Willy 2 into motion?
I think it was like when Willy came out, the theaters were very different.
Right.
You had time to build an audience. Now you come out, you have a weekend. If you don't hit, you're gone. It's
Yeah.
over.
Oh, yeah,
See you later.
absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we didn't have a great first opening. We were up against a lot of competition, and it was a kid's film. And it was kind of cheesy, and people were like, what the hell is that? A kid in a well, right?
Right.
So for the first 3 weeks it was in theaters, it lingered. It just wasn't doing much. And so Warner Brothers didn't know what they wanted to do with it. I don't know if Warner Brothers was ever that excited about the project to begin with, to be honest with you. But for whatever reason, that third week, there was this opening in the theater scheduling. And it was basically Free Willy was kind of it. And it just caught. So people took their kids. They went and saw it. They were, oh, my God, this movie's crazy. It's about the kid in the well. Suddenly the next weekend, it was packed. And it went from 5th to number 1. And it stayed in the number 1 position, I think, for a month.
Wow.
And that was basically on that. They were like, green light, we're doing 2 with this kid. Let's go.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, but that defines a huge chunk of your life.
Massive.
I mean, massive.
It's my childhood.
I mean, and also you went from
because Free Willy 3 was 97 when that was released.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you went from
11
doing
to 17.
You went from doing Japanese commercials, I believe it's true, I've read it on Wikipedia, to just walking into a lead role in a huge franchise at a huge studio, and then I mean,
Struck by lightning. Bro.
Exactly. And then so what? I mean, it comes up. You're at the red carpet, and I'm gonna guess everything was totally different. All of a sudden, it's not the same for you anymore.
Oh no, yeah. There's no small town kid from San Diego anymore.
Right.
That shit's over. You know what I mean? Like, there's people like now I'm on Star Maps, and there's people showing up in my backyard.
Oh my God.
Had a
Oh, man.
stalker show up on set with a gun and decided if
Holy
they
shit,
couldn't
man.
have, if they couldn't have me, nobody could. I mean, that's a
What?
real thing.
So
I had Mossad protecting me at one point.
No shit.
Not even kidding.
No. So like, what movie was that?
Willy.
Well, Willy 1 or
on
Willy
Willy
2?
2.
Willy 2.
We were shooting in San Juan Islands, and this dude from Germany who became highly obsessed with me, dressed like me from the film.
Wow.
Had the same haircut, the whole thing.
Wow, man.
He flew to L.A. He found a private investigator who was a scuzzy bag guy willing to take his money to figure out where I was.
Yep.
So he took the guy's money, found out where I was, told him where I was, and then called Warner Brothers and said, oh, by the way, I got a straight stalker case over here that's looking for your boy.
Wow.
Jeez. And he's on his way.
So he was playing both
And
sides.
here he comes.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Get the money.
Yeah.
So this guy apparently got all the way up to the San Juan Islands, got into the same hotel I was in. This is all unbeknownst to me. I had security with me at that point. I had a police officer from the LA or from Beverly Hills Police Department, and I had an ex-Mossad agent. He used to protect Bruce Willis, named Avi. And he used to always say, he used to smoke cigars and said, Jason, what do you want to go to do today? He sounded just like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
If you can imagine like a big 6'7" Israeli guy, he sounds just like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He's the greatest guy. Anyway, so they were with me for like weeks, and I didn't really understand. I know there was a stalker, I knew there was a problem, but they were all kind of like insulating me from all of this
Right.
shit.
As an adult should.
Yeah. So at some point they came up with a plan to draw this guy out. They used me as bait. They drew him out.
Wait a second. Hold
on.
the fucking phone. Rewind this for a second. So they go from like, let's get security. Yeah, no, put him on the 5th floor. No, lock this down. And be like, you know what we could do?
We could put him on a bench outside.
Let's dangle him. Let's tie him to a bench outside.
They had me on the same floor as him. He came out, and I think the story is they ransacked him into the room
Uh-huh.
and was like, basically, you can go back to Germany or you can just disappear.
Whoa.
Well, no, hold on. Hold on.
No, I'm sure they
I
were
was-
just
I
going
was
to turn him
about to
over to
say-
the authorities.
And then
Yeah, I was about to say, you were
cut
like,
to the
all
scene
right,
in Free Willy
movie
2.
people don't kill people. That doesn't happen.
No.
Sir, you have two choices. And it all starts with this. Do you happen to have any schnitzel on you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
If you
seriously.
got a real good schnitzel, we might let you go back.
And number 2 is, how do you feel about being scraps for
Yeah, right.
Chico?
The
I
budget for the
think
whales got
They
very
ended up
intense.
revoking like his passport for life.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
and
that sounds-
sending him, putting him on a plane back to Germany.
Yo, man, if
That
you're
seems
if you're dressing like a kid and tracking them down in a different country
He had
and
the
trying to
same
go into
haircut.
yeah, you're my God, your first issue is not where to go on holiday.
He
You know
had
what
the
I'm saying?
jean jacket.
That-
He had the flannel shirt. I shit you not. He had the backpack and he had the shoes. He was dressed like Jesse.
You were 11
That's-
when you did Free Willy, right?
Yeah.
11. You had to go back to school at some
Yeah.
point. What
Yeah.
the fuck happened when you went back to school?
It was absolute torture.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I was on the cover of Teen Beat.
Oh,
So
God.
I dealt with a lot of crap.
Kids
And you're
in the
going through
90s.
puberty at the same time, and it's just
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, man.
And you're in front of a camera, so you're like your voice is changing
Yeah.
in front of the world. Everything, your whole sexuality, everything is like.
So when you went to
Just
ask
laid out.
when you went
Yeah.
to ask your someone to prom, how I'm gonna guess that was awful.
I went stag.
That's probably the best move because I mean,
Smart.
God, I'm not sure
Smart.
that even it feels like that would be one of those things when you're famous at that level that it'd be the easiest thing to be like, yeah, no, I mean, I get whoever I want and this thing, but I actually think it's probably the opposite for a teen because it's like, please don't look at me, please don't look
I'm
at
just
me.
grateful I was famous pre-social media.
Amen.
Oh sure,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Maybe that's another reason the 90s movies are so great, because it's just like,
yeah,
There's none of that extra nonsense.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
No, but it
man.
was tough. I mean, I think out of a 4-year high school career, I might have been in classes for maybe 2 of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had basically a good relationship with my peers, but I got teased quite a bit. I got attacked at parties. I got teased because of jealousy. Guys are
right,
drunk or
yeah,
on
trying
something,
to
and
prove that
who do
they're
you think
just-
you are? And
yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
no, I didn't
I'm
come
not
in here
trying to prove
acting like it.
anything.
I have never, and I'm going to tell you this, I have never once walked into a room and went, do you know who I am?
Oh,
I'm the
God.
guy from Free Willy. Never.
Right.
Okay, one time.
okay.
I got pulled over in San Antonio. I was in El Paso. I was going through the checkpoint there. I had an eighth of weed on me. I was going to Dallas to make a movie. I smoke pot. I don't really
Right.
drink, but I smoke a lot of pot. I had an eighth of weed on me, and I know Dallas, Texas they have a little
Yeah,
different
yeah.
thing. So they pulled me over, and the dog hit my car. It was the last car to go through the line. And it hit because I had pot in the car. So they pulled me into the search inspection thing. They get me out of the car. They handcuffed me. They're going through my car, and I'm like, all I have is an eighth of weed. I'm from California. I had no idea. I'm lying.
Right,
Obviously.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I had no idea it was illegal in the state of Texas. I'm like, well, it's illegal here. It's in our Schedule 1 narcotic. And so the XO brings me in and into the little kiosk, and they're gonna throw my ass
Oh,
in
yeah.
like
Right.
Nogales jail. They're gonna send me down
Yeah,
to the immigration jail.
Holy shit,
Because that's
dude.
where the only place they could put me.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
Jesse.
So I'm talking
So,
to Officer
Where's Kiko?
Lucito
That's
across
where-
from me.
Mhm.
He
Okay.
looks like he's about 33. At this time, I'm about 30, 29, 30
Okay.
years old.
Sure,
He looks like he's a couple years older. He's processing my information. He said, what are you going to Dallas for? I said, oh, I'm an actor, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, you're not going to make it there this time, pal. So he's like doing all my paperwork. And I looked at him and I just thought, and this is the honest to God. This is the honest to God truth. It's the only once and every time,
you were thinking.
I ever
Yeah,
said
yeah.
Free Willy. Do you
Yeah.
know Free Willy? Can this help me? Because I'm not like that. But
No, this
I'm
is like
sitting
the
there looking
Super
at
Bowl
him.
when you're the
Yeah.
Eagles and
I'm
you're like,
I don't
want
to go to that jail.
crazy. What
I
if
don't
we
want to
go-
get ready.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
know?
this is not going to be a
No,
good.
Your
good
back's up
experience.
against the wall. This
Yeah.
is if you're going to pull the cards.
So the first question is like, do you have kids? And he goes, yeah, I got 3. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I said, well, do you remember a movie when you were a kid called Free Willy? And he's like doing paperwork across from me, and he like looks up, and I'm handcuffed to like the table, and he's like, oh my God, dude, you're the guy from Free Willy. And I said, yes. And he goes, oh, fuck all this paperwork, dude. Don't worry about this. So he gets his XO goes off to oversee a fire.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a fire on the highway. She is like roaring mad and ready to throw me in jail because they're being too nice to me. She doesn't
Right.
feel like they're treating me whatever.
Right,
So she takes
right.
off and he's like, hey, let's go smoke cigarettes. I'm like, at that time I did. So I go smoke a cigarette. He starts telling about his wife, his kids, the biggest bust he ever had. And then they just let me go. It was an eighth of pot.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah.
It was an eighth of pot. But they did warn me. It's the state of Texas. This is federal. Like, you're lucky today, but don't come through here again. And, of course, I did it one more time. So.
And that was the second. Did your kids ever see Free Willy 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's no more card to pull. If they get me now, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I got no more. I got nothing.
That's right. Jason does not leave California.
No,
except
but
for,
so I did. It was tough growing up. You get
Yeah.
teased
Yeah.
a lot and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I never walked around like listen. The goal for me was never to become a famous person. I never had any inkling or interest in fame. I
Right.
don't care. I still don't care about fame. It's not relevant to me. What's relevant to me is that I love acting, and I know that sounds hokey and silly and stupid, but it's like
Not at all.
I have been so blessed, and I'm completely in realization that my entire life I've been able to make my living as an entertainer, as an actor, as a creator, and I hold that above anything else. I mean, truly anything else. I mean, fame and money and all that stuff is nice, and actually, fame really isn't all that nice if you have a lot of it. It can become, a thing that makes you crazy, i.e. there's certain people in the media right now who are saying crazy shit, right?
Right.
Part of that is the fame. It gets to you.
Yeah.
You live in a world of yes. You live in a world of nobody ever telling you no or nobody ever grounding your ass and saying, enough's enough, bro.
Right.
You live on planet Earth with the rest of us.
Yeah.
You're made of flesh and blood. You do something special, but that's irrelevant. You're a human being.
Right.
So it can screw with you in horrible ways. And so I never had any interest in that. I never wanted any of that. I never pursued it. Truth be told, I wasn't going to do this.
Right. Yeah.
But my agent said, it'd be good for you to get out and talk. And I said, well, fine.
Well, on that note, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you took a little period of time off for acting. We'll get to that in just a second. We have to take a quick break. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you very much for joining us for an episode of Happy Hour Flicks today. I know we're having a lot of fun talking, but let's take a second here and talk about our friends over at Misguided Spirits. They once again have helped us design up and bring a cocktail together just for this episode about Free Willy. This episode and this cocktail designed by Leah from Belle Rev. Belle Rev is a cocktail bar. If you don't know it, it's in Tribeca here in New York. It's a hospitality bar and restaurant with good vibes and tasty drinks, and they are made by a total, collection of badass bartenders, one of which being who designed our cocktail today. That is Leah. So go check out, first of all, follow Belle Rev at Belle Rev NYC, but then give Leah follow to see her other cocktail magic at Leah Marie Logan. That's at LeaMarie Logan. And Matt Mundy, what has she made us here today for Free Willy?
Leah, thank you so much. This is a Free Willy that she has made for us, very appropriately named. And it is a little pinch of salt, cucumber, mint leaves, simple syrup, muddle that with lime, and of course, Misguided gin, topped with a little soda water and some Free Willy spritzer, which is a little coconut oil salt water solution, and then rimmed with nori dust seaweed.
When I saw the nori dust, I thought that was I was like, what is that going to be? But I do have to say, it actually really works. It's really cool.
Oh, man, it sets it up perfect. I always thought about it like with I did not think of it as a rim. And it's perfect. And I honestly I want to go swimming with the fishes now.
And always, you can check out these recipes in the liner notes for the episode. Click there, shake yourself one up, and get it together. And again, follow our friends over at Misguided Spirits. They're awesome people, make great product, and we're very glad to have them here on the show. All right, enough of this. Make yourself a Free Willy, and let's get back to the episode. And Jason, so you went on to do all these Free Willy films, and then you took a break and did music for a while. Mm-hmm. So what, I mean, you just were done, burnt out, over it, wanted to explore something different creatively?
Yeah, I mean, like what we were talking about earlier, when, you start out on films at the age of 10, 11,
right.
And I worked until I was basically 18 years old. I was completely burnt out, and also, I was going into rooms where people weren't really interested in me for the part. They just want to talk to me about what was it like to work with a whale, which is cool, but I need the job. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there to talk about, but it's fine, but I'm there to work. So I got frustrated. And I also had a realization that, I'd spent most of my young life, basically the second half of my young life. There's like pre-Willy and then there's post-Willy. Right. As a famous person with no real life experiences. People treat you differently everywhere you go. So you don't really have any like barometer. And I'm like, well, I'm an actor. I'm trying to play characters. I need to have like life experiences. I need to live.
Right.
So I just walked away from everything. I said, I'm going to play music. I'm going to have fun. If people are interested in what the Free Willy kid's up to, that's where I'm at. I don't care. So I toured around the country a bunch. We did three tours. We sold some records. We had a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I came home from that. I was a little burnt out. And then I just decided, I'm going to start out on the other side of the camera. And I have lots of friends in the film industry. So I was just calling up saying, hey, can I come PA on your multi-million-dollar project? And they were like, why do you want to PA? I was like, well, because I want to be on the set. Yeah. I want to be working. I love it. I like making movies. It's fun.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a privilege. It's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like working at a grocery store. God bless those
Yeah,
people.
no, absolutely.
But
yeah.
it's a privilege. It's not, you know what I mean? You get to do it. It's not, well, this is what I do. It's you get to do it. Even if you're a famous person, it can be taken away from you.
Yeah.
It's a privilege. So
100%.
I started as PA on like big multi-million-dollar pictures, getting just chewed up, and decided, okay, I'm not going to do PA stuff. I know what I want to do. So I shot a short film. I directed it, I produced it, and I put it around some festivals, and it seemed to get some interest. So I was like, cool. And that led to other gigs, behind the camera. And I ended up going to work for my stepdad, a little bit of nepotism and all of that, and working as a director's assistant, learning how to produce, learning how to write, learning how to do the technical creatives.
the whole thing.
Yeah. So I think in like 2008, 2009, I started back in front of the camera and behind the camera. So now I produce as well as just show up and act. And
I think it's really smart. I mean, a lot of people get so focused on, as an artist and creative, just doing the thing that you forget to experience life. And that's ultimately what we're doing generally, is mirroring life and experiences. If you don't ever have experiences and you don't do anything,
Then what are you recalling?
what are you talking about?
pulling
Like,
from?
what do you hear? What do you hear adding to the story? Why does your story need to be told? You know what I mean?
I think with any film, any actor, any material, the key is that the person portraying the part or doing the lines has some point of reference. They have some place where they can say, well, it's not exactly like this, but it's similar, and I can get there. And you need that. I think you end up with more authentic performances. Although there are some actors out there that can just do it. They don't ever have to live a day of the trauma. They can just do it.
Right.
They can just feel it.
Yeah.
I've sort of lived between both those worlds. I need some help, and I'm not above, method or just getting, if I'm playing a biker, let's go hang out with bikers,
Right.
which I've done.
Just getting the world.
Yeah, you get the world. You get a sense of what's going on. So when you're going from the page to the scene, there's some intelligence behind what's being said because you understand what the context of it is.
Yeah.
There's plenty of actors that throw lines at you, and you can just tell that behind their eyes, they don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I tell young actors all the time because I do, casting and stuff. I'm like, if you don't understand some piece of dialogue, ask.
Right.
Always ask. Just what does this mean? It doesn't matter if you feel stupid, because what's going to look stupid is if you don't understand the context of what you're
Right,
saying.
yeah.
I was gonna
then you blurt it out.
That's I was gonna say that might be one of the kindest pieces of advice. Is like
You get the wheels
you're
turning.
you're gonna think I'm gonna feel stupid if I ask this, but you're gonna look stupid if you don't.
Yeah, you got to. You have
You
to.
have to ask,
Yeah,
because I just say that personally because I'm someone who wouldn't. I did not ask a lot, and so I just ended up looking stupid, and I was like, oh, that's why. So you hearing that, you saying that, I was like, just kind of, I might cry again. I
have that
I
effect.
take that's right. The dulcet tones.
There
But-
was a guy once. He was like 6'7". We were in Arkansas screening Free Willy, and he comes out of the theater. He's got a big old cowboy hat on, and he sees me, and he looks down, and he goes, "Boy, you made me cry." I got this big old country Texan, whatever, Arkansas guy to admit that he had cried in a children's movie.
Yes. In Arkansas, you're lucky you didn't be like,
Yeah.
boy, you made me cry. I'm going to have to whip your ass.
Well, I'll tie you up, boy.
But can you ask Michael where he got them jeans though?
Where do you get them jeans?
Holy shit, I forgot a big key factor of the whole thing.
What?
When you got to clear up something for me. So in the scene, we're back with the sheet cake.
Okay.
This movie's really a movie about
Yeah,
cake.
this episode is called
It's a movie.
Sheet Cake.
This is the sheet cake.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. And I don't give a sheet. We going on. Oh, please,
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Can we
hey
delete
now.
that? Delete it immediately. Delete it immediately. Immediate
Nope,
regret.
You just made
immediate regret.
made a Matt joke, and I appreciate
I know.
it.
Immediate regret. What am I doing over here? But the kid, Michael Bacall, plays, I think, a character's named Perry or something.
Big time writer now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But you guys are sitting under there eating cake and everything. Is he have hot sauce or ketchup on
Ketchup.
that? I thought it was
Okay.
ketchup.
It's ketchup.
It is.
Okay.
And it's disgusting.
It's disgusting. Did he actually eat that? While you
Yes,
guys,
he did.
Dude.
Did several takes of it.
Did he like it?
No.
I was about to say, whose idea was
He's like,
this?
can I be two-take Richter too?
Yeah, he's like,
I don't want to eat this anymore.
There was me, Daniel Harris, and another young actor in the scene, and God forgive me, I don't remember the young man's name, but we all got to do these scenes together. We were all kids, so we were just
Yeah.
playing in between takes and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the producers was like, what if he took, ketchup or something? And I think Michael was like, okay.
Yeah.
This is what
That's
kids
I'm like,
do,
whose,
right?
You know?
whose insane idea is this?
It was not a child's, I'll tell you that. That's
No.
exactly right.
He's also. It looks like he's eating the cardboard box the way he's got it into the thing. It's been a whole thing. I'm like, this scene was
you were
defining.
traumatized.
I watched
I'm
this.
surprised you made it through the rest of the movie.
I'm not sure what happens at the end of the movie. I just watched this on loop.
You know, I think Danielle sprang her wrist because we're supposed to jump off the freeway overpass into like a truck with a bunch of boxes and then down from there. And I think she jumped from the pass down into the boxes. And she sprained her wrist, so they ended up having to put her like in a wrist or
Oh
something.
no, yeah.
Everybody got hurt on freeway.
That's what, especially the
It was
children.
the 90s.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's
cared.
exactly.
The cast was twice as large when it started.
You have
Exactly.
to understand, so for the audience to have context, you have to understand maybe 10 years prior to that, they just decided not to put lead paint on kids' toys.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, Transformers I played with were metal.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, same.
weighed 40 pounds.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could kill your sibling with one. Just
Yeah,
boom.
they tried several times.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And those fuckers don't. My brother liked Transformers, so therefore I hated Transformers, and I tried to break those sons of bitches, and they built them
Dude,
well.
I
They're
just-
really hard to break.
They're built for tough.
built.
Yeah, they were
built for-
definitely. I just found one of my old Optimus Primes. You know, I told you I went home and there it was. I was
Oh,
crazy.
nice.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, I just stopped. You know, I was like, this. I didn't know this was still here. And you're right, man. I picked it up, and I was it's
substantial.
Substantial. Yeah,
It's substantial.
I mean, growing up in the '90s, it was totally different with kids. Also, because I mean, I remember growing up in the and I go fishing with my dad, and I'd get like a hook in my finger, like legit in there, and it'd be like bleeding. My dad would be like, "Take an aspirin, walk
Right.
off."
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that was
Salt
just everything.
tablet.
Yeah,
take
I
a-
got stung by bees, and my
everything.
dad was like, "Let me get the tobacco and chew it up, and then just throw it on the wound." You know, it took the sting out, and got me addicted to some nicotine.
Everything else is like, take an aspirin and walk it off is my whole life. And nowadays, if you don't, I've heard, and like, and you see these articles, if you take your eye off your kid for a second in the park and they wander 200 yards away from you, you get child services called on you.
Exactly.
No,
Well,
it's different. It's
and I was going to say,
different.
that's to the other thing we've been kind of circling
their
this whole.
kids do
You
anything.
could go out, and it's that whole thing that we saw with like Stranger Things. You leave your bike out,
Yeah.
and it's just a pile of bikes. It's where the kids go, and it's
That's
just like,
it.
they're out.
I mean, how
we
do
used to do that. And when the
100%.
street light came on, you go home. Have you seen this? No, I haven't.
What is this?
Oh, he's showing me a picture
James
of...
is James is pulling up his laptop
All
here
right.
to
There's a picture
James
of
producer James showing
somebody-
us a photo on a laptop.
Oh, wow. Somebody did like an action figure of me and the whale.
This is riveting.
Dude, it
podcast.
is the
Wow.
90s.
That's
got an action
really
figure?
well done.
We got to see that. What is this? Let me see it. This
You're
is
gonna have to
this
put
is-
that on your website for the audience.
Yeah, we'll put this up on the website. Obviously, you got to go check it out. Oh my God, you're like an action figure here.
Yeah.
Dude,
They got the
Dude,
eyes
it-
perfectly. You know,
They
you can
did.
see
They-
the slight deranged look. You know,
Totally.
You got
I'm coming to get you, Michael.
But, I mean, you want to talk about white privilege. This kid frees a whale
Yes.
and doesn't go to jail.
yeah.
He just gets reprimanded. It's like, bad boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, bad boy.
James and I.
Bad boy. Let's do it a couple
Come
more
on.
times.
James, producer with the laptop over here, like we watched it on the plane out here to LA where we're recording this, and we got to the end, and the Michael Madsen and I forget the actor's name that plays your mom.
Oh, Jane.
Jane,
Jane
and you were all there, and there's like this little family hug,
Yep.
Yeah.
and the music,
And nobody's
swells,
concerned about what just happened.
and they're
No,
all smiling, looking at the sunset and the whale swimming off into the
Oh,
distance.
and look, he's joined the family.
And then
Family and
then
family.
Michael Madsen, I think, utters the line. He's like, "Let's go home." And James on an airplane immediately goes, "No, bullshit.
You're grounded.
You're not going
You're not
home.
going home.
You're not going home."
Hey,
You're going
Dwight,
back
this,
to the.
yeah.
Let's be honest. He's going back to the foster care place.
Yeah.
This one's
Yeah.
broken.
Dwight's
Dude.
like, I can't do anything with this
And
one.
the
I
character,
can't.
the character of Dwight is also like the guy's supposed to be helping you, and at some points this guy comes out so hard. You think your mom wants you? Your mom doesn't want you. She left her this thing. She's never coming back. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this kid's like 11. Man.
Yeah, give him a
Yeah, I
rest.
get he's kind of like he already has issues. You're about to give him more
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, Michael T. Williamson, who played Bubba in.
Yes.
Oh
Forrest
yes.
Gump.
Oh, I didn't make
Yes.
the connection, but yes,
Yes, he does.
absolutely.
And he was awesome.
God, what a
I love
cast.
Michael T.
94.
I'm telling you,
What a
Michael
cast.
Ironside, Richard Reel, okay, Lori Petty,
Lori
Yeah.
Petty.
August Schellenberg.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on
Yeah,
and
yeah.
on. Michael T. Williamson. I mean, it's
Right.
Michael Bacall.
Yeah,
it's endless. Danielle Harris. That was my first film. That was like she was like old hat.
Right, yeah.
And I just worked with her as a producer, and she's like, "Oh, it's so good to see you, sweetheart." And
Aw.
she's just like, it was crazy. I'm just like, that's Danielle. And you know the same thing. She's the same height. That's fucked up. Hopefully she hears this. No, she's awesome, man. She's so great in our movie too. She plays a mom, and she ends up shooting the bad guy. I'm giving it away a little bit, but I'm excited about the movie. It's a fun, scary horror, and she's great in it. So.
Yeah, so when does the movie come out? You don't know yet. You're shopping right now.
We're shopping.
We're shopping, working on it.
Probably next Halloween.
Yeah, next Halloween, next October kind of thing. Yeah. So we got the name Nat.
Natty Knox.
Natty Knox.
Natty Knox.
Is there an Instagram or a website for it or something?
Yes.
Somebody wants to know.
Yep.
Where do they go?
If you look up Natty Knox Film on IG, Instagram, you should be able to find it. It might be like the only thing there.
Natty Knox. Got it.
I'm real excited for the film.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Dude,
There's
that's
a lot of fun to
so
make
exciting.
That's
Like,
awesome. Really, yeah. I can't wait to check it out.
We have a
Honestly,
young
it's gonna be
cast.
very cool.
I'm trying to think of everybody's name. Charlotte Jardem. She's our lead in it. Thomas Robes. He's.
That name's
I
familiar.
think it might be his first film. And then we have Hannah Zaidung, and she plays the young little girl, little sister in the movie, and she's a fantastic little actor. She's awesome. Will Murden is one of the kids in the movie. I don't know. I love my kid cast. They're kick ass. They're awesome.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have in the film?
4 or 5, 5 or 6.
Or five,
something, I don't know.
So of the 100 digits, how many of them are still on the children of like their fingers and toes?
Oh, they're all. Everybody came through intact.
Everybody came through intact.
It's shocking, but we
Lessons
managed not
learned.
to maime anybody,
Yeah, be
even though I
careful.
got maimed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be careful. We can only count to 9.
I was about to say, yeah.
Filmmaking is a full contact
It's
sport.
amen.
Yeah.
It is true.
It
I
is.
used to be 6'2".
I always say filmmaking is like wedding planning mixed with industrial equipment. You know what I mean? It's like you're like planning 30 weddings in a row, and you're moving everything with forklifts and crazy big tractors and shit.
Simon Windsor was the director of Free Willy one. Brilliant filmmaker.
Yeah.
He did Operation Dumbo Drop.
Yeah, Dumbo Drop.
Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah,
and on.
and
Guy's
a lot of
great
the
filmmaker.
young Indiana Jones.
Yep, all those episodes, the TV show.
Yeah.
He and I guess this is years later, but he and Robbie Greenberg, the DP, the director of photography, did not get along, and they got into a fist fight in front of me on set.
No way.
Speaking of full
Okay,
contact.
hold on. Let's go back here.
It was a very adult film.
It is. We're in Mexico City, setting the stage, 1992-ish. Mexico
Portland.
City.
Portland.
We're in
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon. I'm going to guess because of the way you guys were filming, it's 1:30 in the morning. Everybody's
Easily.
on cocaine.
Everybody's jacked up on cocaine, including me.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's
It
2
came
a.m.
right from the studio.
It's
No,
raining.
Jason has just eaten 2 fistfuls of sheet cake.
Let's
with
do
ketchup.
this.
Now, so how did this? I've got the stage set. How did this come about?
I think they had just been having general tensions about where to put a camera, what the lighting should be, just creative stuff.
Right.
And they both were very strong-willed men who had very different visions. And we, like I said, we had filmed in Mexico City. It was in a lot of ways, it was a total shit show. It was crazy. I mean, our accountants got robbed at gunpoint.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
I think the trucks bringing all the equipment down, they got stopped by the federales, the Mexican police. They had to pay them off. I mean, Mexico City was tough. People were brilliant. The
Right.
culture is brilliant. The people are brilliant. Some of my literal fondest memories are of Mexico City, getting to go to the pyramids. I mean, when other kids were in 6th grade learning about the Romans, I was learning about the Aztecs and the Mayans, and I was going to the pyramids that they built.
Yep.
Right.
And actually physically interacting with them, which now you can't even get on them because people are stupid and they graffiti
And
things up
ruined it,
because
yeah.
we can't have anything nice.
Yeah,
So
okay.
anyway,
I wonder
these
where they
two were
learned to
fighting,
graffiti.
Yeah.
and it culminated in a late night on set. I believe we were in Portland. We were at the park we were shooting at, and I don't know what happened because I was like doing the scene, but suddenly there was a commotion. And I everything stops, and these two are literally grabbing each other by the neck and throwing punches, and now gaffers and grips, and everybody's yanking these two apart. What the hell's going on?
Yeah,
you know?
fucking right. Every grip
You know.
on that set is sitting back to be like, I got 5 on the director.
Yeah, exactly. I want to hit him. Let me hit him
Yeah,
next.
yeah. What do you think if I? Do you think
He's
if I get in
finally
here?
doing what I've been thinking.
But yeah, there was fist fights. There was fingers getting chopped off. There was lots of OSHA violations. It was a fun movie to make.
Man, it sounds honestly, it sounds like it.
It was a blast.
And you could tell because it's a family film.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Family films are always fueled by distress, fighting, and obviously illicit drug use.
I as an adult actor, I've learned you don't ever make movies with kids or animals.
And so
that
you
is
and
true.
So you went ahead and put 5
5
in your
in
movie.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we just made a
And
film.
Simon
as well.
went on to do one with an elephant.
Yeah.
So,
The very next film he made
It was a
was
big
Operation
elephant.
Double Drop.
What is up with this guy in like oversized animals?
He
Like,
just knows how to do it.
did he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the Tarantino of the animal film
there it
world.
is. He'll take an ear.
exactly.
He will.
And he's got like so up next for him is probably Oswald the giraffe goes home.
Right.
Immediately followed by like precipice the hippo. You know what I mean? finds
Winged
love.
monkey. No, I love it.
There's something in this, some violent version of Free Willy.
Oh my god.
Some adult violent version.
No
Yes.
shit. Somebody out there, one of the listeners, you got to do this. You got to cross cut Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
In with Free Willy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can keep it. And you take like Michael Madsen when you throw the baseball through the window.
Yes.
It sends him spiraling.
Yes.
It will work.
Just color it red, and it ends up going into the gimp's mouth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now
I just
about
connected the
gimps.
universes right there.
No, it's perfect. I like all
Yeah,
of it.
I think it works.
I'm a big fan of categories.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
great. Yes.
There's a million different combinations of everything, right?
Yeah.
You just have to figure it out.
So, dude, Jason, it's been fantastic having you on, man.
Yeah, thank you
for having
so,
me.
what,
Great.
I mean, we got just a couple minutes here. What?
I do have one big question.
Yeah, I was about to go ahead.
Do you remember, because you've been talking about August, and he's just awesome. Do you remember the prayer?
Oh, yes, of course. Salana Eung Aesus. I have no idea what it means. Don't message me on social media and ask. I don't have the necklace. I don't know what fucking Salana means. It's just a great thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It can mean whatever you want it to.
and it makes whales fly. So be
And it makes,
careful.
well, that's what I was going to say.
exactly.
That's how this cross cuts. You
You
know?
know, it just, I've always thought watching the movie, though, I was like, that is an awesome thing, him jumping over the big gravel bar. It seems like the net's a little lower. Like, you could have just, you know what I mean? We could
kinda
just
go,
do a little skip over
Didn't
the
have to be
net.
quite as.
Yeah. But, I mean,
Exactly. He was
obviously way more fun.
he heard in the water that he's never jumped that high, and he's like, "I'll hold my beer," and just went over both that and you. I do have a quick question wrapping up, because you were talking about working with kids and you coming into it as an 11-year-old and then working with Simon. How would you say you've the experience with Simon and then also your own experiences influenced how you are directing?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, actually. I think Simon was great for me as a first-time actor on a major thing because Simon, he's Australian, and they just have a tendency to be more direct. So when he didn't like something, he would just tell me. If he did want something, and the other thing about it was that everybody wants you to succeed, right? Nobody wants you to fail. Like, they all want you to be there to do something great because they want to be a part of something great. So
Right, yeah.
I got really spoiled on Free Willy because I thought that was going to be like every film. Like, everybody was going to be this little family. We're going to go out and make these movies, and everybody's going to have that kind of, like, creative honesty with each other where you could just tell each other, hey, let's try this again. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah.
When I had a great experience, but what I learned was that no sets are like that. Everybody has egos. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has their own what they're trying to do. And everybody's afraid to be honest about what's in front of them in the moment. So I think from Simon, I got, a blessing that I got a director who I loved because he was so direct about what he wanted. He was so simple about what he needed from me in each moment. So when I work with directors and they have that quality, I really appreciate it because then you can just get down to business. Because being an actor, you have to trust the director,
Right,
Because
yeah.
you can look like a jackass if you don't. If they have bad judgment,
Right.
they can take a great actor like Denzel Washington,
Right.
and make him look like garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Happens all
It
the time.
happens.
Yeah.
So it's in the director's hands, and the actor has to trust their director. And I think that's probably the thing I learned from Simon was about trusting your director, figuring out what their style is,
Right.
and then giving them what they want. 'Cause
Right.
That's what you're there for.
Because
Yeah.
it sounds like because he was to the point, simple, it was attainable,
Yeah.
and it was something you could just do. It was
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great, man.
Yeah.
Jason, awesome meeting you, dude.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come in, chat with us. It's honestly an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Come back
excited.
and talk about any time with you guys.
Well, let's come back. We'll come back and talk about your movie whenever it's out. It'd be great.
Natty Knox. We can
Natty
talk about
Knox.
that. We can talk NeverEnding Story 3. We can talk
Yeah.
about
Oh, yeah. We didn't even. Yeah.
Dude, like happy hours, they always come back. So
Exactly.
we'll do it again for sure.
come back for another drink and talk about movies.
All right. Well,
All right.
we're gonna do the next one's in Texas and with an XO.
Exactly.
Okay, I will be drinking Shiner.
And we have on the phone, we have the police officer, the arresting officer from that night. Thanks a lot, man. It's great to meet you.
Great to be here. Thank you guys very much.
Happy Hour Flicks is a Framework production, produced by Lori Kay and James Allerdyce, hosted by Stephen Pierce and Matt Mundy, and found wherever you listen to podcasts. And that music you're hearing is by Johnny Mineo. Remember to subscribe. See you next time.